Have you ever felt like an outsider? Wondering if you ever truly belong? Or maybe you face tough time, unsure if things will ever get better? If so, you are not alone. The story we are about to dive into might just be what you need to hear. Let's talk about Ruth, one of the incredible women in the Bible. Her story got everything: tragedy, love, bravery, and an ending that will blow your mind. Before we continue, please subscribe to Zini African Gospel Tale, like our story, and share this story to bless others. Thank you. The story of Ruth is written in the book of Ruth in the Bible. The book of Ruth is a bridge between the two major parts of Israel's covenant history. The first part, Genesis to Judges, focuses on how Abraham's descendants became a nation and on the covenant God made with Israel. The second part, Samuel to Kings, tells the story of the nation's kings and the covenant God made with David as the head of Israel's royal line. Ruth helps the transition by opening in the days of the Judges and ending with the genealogy of David. The book appears to have been written to defend David's right to be king. He was the great-grandson of a Moabite named Ruth. Because the people of Moab didn't help the Israelites when they came out of Egypt, the Lord did not permit any descendant of a Moabite to join Israel down to the 10th generation. If they couldn't even join the community, how could one of them serve as a king? The book is set up like a drama or stage play. Each scene features a short introduction and then dialogue between the characters. The book ends with a 10th generation genealogy leading up to David. So, the form of the book mirrors its purpose, which is to show that genuine faith was present in a woman from a nation whose descendants were normally excluded for 10 generations. The book also shows how God's purpose are accomplished in the world. God's good law, allowing the poor to collect grain in the field, His providence over events, and the personal kindness of people, all combine to help the story find a redemptive conclusion. The story unfolds during the time of the Judges in Israel, a period marked by spiritual decline and moral chaos. During the time of the Judges, Israel was in a state of spiritual and moral decay. The people had turned away from God, leading to a cycle of sin, judgment, and deliverance. This period was characterized by idolatry, immorality, and a lack of central leadership, as described in the book of Judges. It was against the backdrop of spiritual darkness that the story of Ruth unfolds. The narrative begins with a famine in Bethlehem, Judah, which forces an Israelite family, Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their two sons, Mahlon and Chilion, to seek refuge in the neighboring country of Moab. Moab was a land known for its hostility towards Israel, making it an unlikely destination for an Israelite family. Tragically, Elimelech died soon after their arrival in Moab, leaving Naomi a widow in a foreign land. Her two sons married Moabite women, Ruth and Orpah, but within 10 years, both sons also died, leaving Naomi, Ruth, and Orpah as widows. Naomi heard the famine in Judah had ended and decided to return. She urged her daughter-in-laws to stay in Moab. Ruth chapter 1 verse 8 to 9. Naomi said, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness as you have shown kindness to your dead husband and to me." Orpah tearfully agreed, but Ruth clung to Naomi. Ruth 1:16 to 17. Ruth replied, "Don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God. They returned to Bethlehem as the barley harvest began. Ruth 1:22. And Naomi, in her grief, asked to be called Mara, meaning bitter. Ruth offered to glean in the fields to provide for them. Ruth 2:2. Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I found favor. By divine providence, she ended up in the field of Boaz, a wealthy and noble relative of Elimelech. Ruth chapter 2 verse 3. As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz. Boaz noticed Ruth and asked about her. Upon hearing of her loyalty to Naomi, he spoke kindly to her. Ruth chapter 2 verse 11 to 12. I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law. May the Lord repay you for all you have done. Boaz instructed his workers to treat her kindly and leave extra grain for her. Ruth chapter 2 verse 15 to 16. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up, and don't rebuke her. When Ruth returned home with abundant grain, Naomi was astonished and praised God. Ruth chapter 2 verse 20. The Lord bless him. That man is our close relative. He is one of our guardian redeemers. Naomi, sensing God's hand, devised a plan. She instructed Ruth to go to Boaz at the threshing floor and lay at his feet, a symbolic gesture requesting redemption and marriage under the kinsman redeemer law. Leviticus 25 verse 25. It's also seen in Deuteronomy 25 verse 5 to 10. Ruth said, "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a guardian redeemer of our family." Boaz was deeply moved and honored by her request. He agreed to fulfill the role, but mentioned there was another relative closer in line. Ruth chapter 3 verse 13. Stay here for the night. If he is willing to redeem good, let him. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it. Boaz met with the other guardian redeemer at the town's gate in the presence of elders. The man was initially willing to buy the land of Elimelech, but withdrew when he learned it involved marrying Ruth to preserve the family line. Ruth chapter 4 verse 6. Then I cannot redeem it, because I might endanger my own estate. You redeem it yourself. I cannot do it. Boaz announced his intentions before the elders. Ruth chapter 4 verse 9 to 10. Today you are witnesses that I have brought from Naomi all the properties of Elimelech. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite as my wife. The elders blessed the union, comparing Ruth to Rachel and Leah, who built the house of Israel. Ruth chapter 4 verse 11. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah. Ruth and Boaz married, and the Lord blessed them with a son. So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. When he made love to her, the Lord enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. Ruth chapter 4 verse 13. The woman of the town rejoiced with Naomi. Praise be to the Lord, for your daughter-in-law who loves you has given him birth. The child was named Obed. Ruth chapter 4 verse 17. They named him Obed. He was the father of Jesse, the father of David. This places Ruth in the lineage of Jesus Christ, as Matthew's genealogy of Jesus includes Ruth. Ruth's story is a powerful reminder of God's redemptive plan, which includes not only the Israelites, but also the Gentiles like Ruth. The story of Ruth offers profound lessons for our lives today. Ruth's loyalty to Naomi and her faithfulness to God serves as a powerful example of devotion. Despite the challenges she faced, Ruth remained steadfast. Her commitment ultimately leading to her redemption and inclusion in the lineage of Christ. The story of Ruth illustrates God's sovereign hand in the life of His people. Even in the midst of tragedy and hardship, God orchestrated events to fulfill His purpose. Ruth's journey from Moab to Bethlehem, her marriage to Boaz, and her place in the lineage of Jesus are all evidence of God's divine plan. Boaz's role as a kinsman redeemer foreshadows the redemptive work of Jesus Christ. Just as Boaz redeemed Ruth and provided for her, Jesus redeemed us from sin and offered us eternal life. Ruth's story reminds us that God's grace extends to all people, regardless of their background or circumstances. Ruth's inclusion in the lineage of Jesus underscores the universal scope of God's salvation. God's plan of redemption is not limited to the Israelites, but extends to all nations, demonstrating God's love and grace for all people. The story of Ruth serves as a powerful reminder of God's sovereign plan and His inclusive love for all people. As we reflect on Ruth's journey, let us be encouraged by her faithfulness and inspired by the redemptive power of God's grace. Thank you for watching. If you love Bible stories as this, please subscribe, like, and share this story to inspire others. God bless you all. Bye.